The sleek, crystalline ship of the Galactic Collective cut through Earth's clouds, its strange shape catching sunlight as it descended. People everywhere stopped to look up. Many recorded videos on their phones. Some cried. Others prayed. This moment would change human history forever. At the United Nations building in New York, world leaders gathered in the large meeting hall. Guards checked and double-checked security, while technicians made last-minute adjustments to translation equipment. "Are we ready?" asked Secretary General Day, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "As ready as we'll ever be," replied President Kim of the North Pacific Union. She straightened her blue suit jacket and took a deep breath. The large doors opened. In walked 3 aliens from the Galactic Collective. They moved with a strange grace, their tall bodies covered in pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer. Their 4 eyes, too large, too small, scanned the room of humans with what appeared to be mild interest. Ambassador Tarek stepped forward. Unlike anything humans had imagined, he had no nose, just breathing slits. His mouth looked more like a sideways figure 8. When he spoke, the sound was musical yet impossible to understand, until the translator kicked in. "Your species has achieved the bare minimum for contact," came the flat, computer-generated English voice. "As is customary for primitive worlds, we offer technological assistance." A murmur spread through the room. President Kim leaned forward in her chair. "We're grateful for any knowledge you're willing to share." Tarek's strange mouth twitched slightly. Later, humans would learn this was how the aliens showed contempt or amusement at something they thought beneath them. "We've arranged delivery of decommissioned vessels and equipment to your lunar surface," Tarek continued. "Perhaps in a few millennia, you'll join us among the stars properly." 2 of the alien assistants behind Tarek made a sound like bells tinkling, their version of laughter. After the meeting, world leaders gathered in a private room. "Did anyone else feel like we were being talked down to?" asked the Brazilian president. "Like children being patted on the head," agreed the Russian representative. President Kim looked out the window. "Let's see what they've actually given us before we judge." 2 weeks later, Dr. Seo Park stood on the gray dust of the moon, looking at what the aliens called gifts. Her spacesuit felt heavy despite the moon's low gravity. Perhaps it was the weight of disappointment. Spread across the lunar surface was a massive field of broken ships, dented equipment, and twisted metal parts. Some pieces were as small as her hand. Others were as large as office buildings. All looked damaged, old, or simply thrown away. "They've given us their trash," she said into her helmet microphone, connecting to Director Jun Lee back at the lunar base. "I can see that from the camera feed," replied Lee, his voice tight with anger. "This isn't assistance. It's mockery." Park walked carefully among the alien junkyard. Despite feeling insulted, her scientific curiosity took over. Some materials reflected light in ways she had never seen. Others seemed to change color when viewed from different angles. "Then let's see what their trash can teach us," she said, kneeling to examine a twisted piece of metal. Back at the base, teams of scientists prepared to catalog everything. World governments had quickly formed the Earth Defense and Research Initiative. Its mission: learn everything possible from the alien technology. Dr. Park carried her first sample into the airlock. After proper decontamination, she took it to the makeshift lab. Under the bright lights, the metal fragment looked ordinary, until she placed it under the testing equipment. "That's impossible," she whispered as the readings came in. Director Lee peered over her shoulder. "What is it?" "This material should collapse under its own weight, according to everything we know about physics. But it's completely stable. And look at these energy readings." More tests revealed stranger properties. The material absorbed certain frequencies of light completely. It reacted to Earth's magnetic field in ways that seemed to defy known science, and when they tried to cut a small piece for further study, no Earth tool could mark it. "They don't know what they've given us," Dr. Park said, a slow smile spreading across her face as understanding dawned. "They really don't know." "Explain," Lee demanded. Their technology developed on different paths than ours. They've clearly mastered energy manipulation, quantum fields, things we've barely begun to understand. But what? They've overlooked certain physical properties. Properties that our science, with its different focus, can detect. She pointed to the test results on the screen. They thought this was worthless because their tools and techniques couldn't extract value from it. But our different approach seized potential they missed. Over the next days, more discoveries followed. Some pieces of alien scrap contained energy sources still active after what must have been centuries. Others had materials that changed properties under conditions that might be common on Earth, but rare on alien worlds. Dr. Park worked tirelessly, sleeping only a few hours each night. She developed a theory that the aliens' home environment had led their technology in directions that ignored certain possibilities. Possibilities that humans, with their Earth-evolved thinking, could see clearly. 1 month after the initial gift, she called an emergency meeting with world leaders. The Galactic Collective gave us scrap thinking. We could do nothing important with it, she explained, showing slides of her findings. But they were wrong. With Earth's unique resources and our different scientific approach, we can create technologies they've never imagined. President Kim looked skeptical. How can we, a primitive species, discover things they missed? Different starting points lead to different discoveries, Park explained. Think of it like this. They climbed a tall mountain and looked down on us from what they think is the highest peak. But from our valley, we can see another mountain behind theirs, one they never noticed because they're facing the wrong way. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. How long? Asked Director Lee. How long until we can turn their trash into something that will change our position in the galaxy? Dr. Park smiled. With proper funding and global cooperation, 5 years, maybe less. And should we tell them what we're doing? Asked the European Union representative. President Kim shook her head firmly. No, let them think their gifts are being studied by admiring primitives. Let them think we're marveling at technologies we barely understand. She stood up and looked at each person in the room. Meanwhile, we'll build something that will change everything. When the collective returns, expecting grateful children, they'll find equals instead. As the meeting ended, Dr. Park returned to her lab. She held up a small piece of the alien scrap, watching it catch the light. They mocked Earth, she whispered to herself, but they won't be laughing for long. 5 winters and summers passed since the aliens had gifted Earth their garbage. During those years, humans worked together in ways they never had before. Old enemies set aside differences. Countries shared resources and knowledge. A single goal united them. Turn the alien trash into something powerful. Deep beneath the dry sands of the Gobi Desert, workers had built the most secure research facility in human history. Its walls were thick concrete with special metals mixed in to block any signals from going in or out. 20 levels underground, the main laboratory hummed with activity. Dr. C.O. Park rubbed her tired eyes. She hadn't slept properly in days, but excitement kept her going. Today was the day she would show the world leaders what 5 years of work had created. Are you ready? Asked Director Jun Lee, her longtime friend and colleague. His hair had more gray now, stress and long hours leaving their mark. As ready as I'll ever be, Park replied, checking her presentation notes one last time. The meeting room filled with important people, presidents, prime ministers, generals, and scientific advisors from every major nation. They spoke in hushed voices until President Kim called for quiet. 5 years ago, the Galactic Collective gave us what they considered trash. President Kim began. Today, Dr. Park will show us what human ingenuity has made from that trash. Park stepped to the front of the room. Behind her, a large glass chamber contained a floating piece of metal that shimmered with an inner light. We call it the Terran fusion process, she explained, gesturing to the gleaming metal sample. By combining the alien alloys with elements unique to Earth's crust and applying our unconventional forging techniques, we've created something the collective has never seen. General Su Choi, known for his skepticism, leaned forward in his chair. His bushy eyebrows drew together as he frowned. "What makes you so certain they haven't tried this?" he asked. "They're thousands of years ahead of us. Why would they miss something we found in just 5 years?" Engineer Min Han stepped forward. Unlike Park's formal suit, Han wore simple work clothes with stains from the fabrication shop. "Their entire technological approach is different," Han explained. "They've evolved toward energy-based technologies. While we've continued to innovate with physical materials, our thinking is fundamentally different." Han tapped a control panel. The sample in the chamber began to glow brighter. "The aliens use pure energy fields for everything. Weapons, shields, propulsion. They abandoned physical materials long ago. But we humans never stopped working with metals and compounds." The metal in the chamber changed color, shifting through blues and purples. "When we apply Earth-based forging methods, heat, pressure, and elements unique to our planet, the alien materials transform. They gain properties the collective has never seen because the collective never thought to look." President Kim gestured to another screen. "Show them the Phoenix." The main screen lit up with a live feed from the moon. Hidden on the far side, away from Earth and prying eyes, a massive construction dock held a ship unlike anything humans had built before. It gleamed silver and blue, its smooth hull flowing in elegant curves. "This is our prototype vessel, codenamed Phoenix," Park said with pride. "Built from the worthless alien scrap, but reimagined through human ingenuity." The assembled leaders gasped. The ship was beautiful, but more importantly, it looked powerful. Engineer Han explained its key features, using simple terms for the non-technical people present. "The hull is Terran fusion material, stronger than anything the aliens have. The engines combine their quantum principles with our understanding of thrust and efficiency. The internal systems." Han continued for several minutes, describing how humans had taken alien concepts and improved them by applying Earth-based thinking. "But when will it fly?" asked the Russian president. "When will we show the collective what we've accomplished?" Director Lee cleared his throat. "That's the next part of our briefing. Our long-range sensors show the collective is returning much sooner than expected." Murmurs of concern spread through the room. "Calm yourselves," President Kim said firmly. "We always knew they would return eventually. We've prepared for this." Park brought up new images on the screen. Satellite footage of 3 collective ships approaching Earth orbit. "They're here for their scheduled primitive species check-in," she explained. "According to the data they left us, these visits happen every 50 years. But they've come early." "Do they suspect what we've done?" General Choi demanded. "We don't think so," Lee answered. "But we can't take chances. That's why we've prepared a special demonstration for them." The next day, Ambassador Tarek and 2 other aliens visited a carefully prepared research facility in Switzerland. Human scientists showed them simple improvements to Earth technology: better solar panels, more efficient farming methods, cleaner energy production. "Impressive for your development stage," Tarek said, but his tone suggested he found it boring. "You've used some basic principles from our gifts." "We're learning slowly," replied Dr. Park humbly, hiding her true knowledge. "Your technology is very advanced." The aliens never asked to see the far side of the moon. They never suspected that beneath the lunar surface, a fleet of ships was taking shape. Not just the Phoenix, but 5 more vessels of similar design. "Continue your development," Tarek said dismissively as their visit concluded. "We'll return again when appropriate." As the crystalline alien ship rose into the sky, world leaders watched from a secure bunker. "They have no idea," whispered President Kim. "No," agreed Park. "They see what they expect to see, primitive humans making small steps forward." Director Lee waited until the alien ships had left Earth orbit completely before asking, "How long until the fleet is ready?" Park checked the latest reports from the lunar construction teams. "The Phoenix is ready now. The others will take more time. 3 years for all 6 ships, maybe less if we rush." "Good," said President Kim. The collective gave us time to develop at our own pace. We'll use it wisely. What nobody knew, what nobody could know, was that events far beyond Earth's solar system were unfolding that would change everything. As the collective ships jumped to faster-than-light travel, they carried reports of Earth's modest progress back to their homeworlds. Meanwhile, dark ships moved through distant star systems, leaving destruction in their wake. A new power was rising in the galaxy, one neither humans nor the collective had encountered before. That night, as Park slept in her quarters beneath the Gobi Desert, she dreamed of the Phoenix flying among the stars. In her dream, Earth ships protected not just humanity, but other worlds too. She had no way of knowing how soon that dream would become reality. In the cold darkness of night, alarms blared throughout the underground command center beneath Mount Sorek. Red emergency lights flashed on as sleepy technicians rushed to their stations. Something unexpected was happening in deep space. Jun-hee, a young sensor operator, was the first to spot it. Strange energy readings at the edge of the solar system, just beyond Pluto's orbit. At first, she thought it might be a sensor malfunction. "Director Lee, you need to see this," she called out, her voice tight with concern. The command center door slid open as Director Lee ran in, still wearing pajamas under his hastily donned uniform jacket. "What's happening?" "Ships, sir. Many ships. And their damage." On the main screen, blurry images appeared of what looked like collective vessels, but not the pristine, perfect ships humans had seen before. These were burning, broken things limping toward Earth's solar system. "Alert the President and Dr. Park," Lee ordered. "Wake everyone." Within 30 minutes, the emergency response team had gathered. President Kim arrived looking tired but alert. Admiral Song, Earth Defense Force's top military commander, studied the incoming data with a grim expression. Dr. Park rushed in last, her hair uncombed and lab coat thrown over sleek clothes. "We're receiving a transmission," announced the communications officer. Static filled the speakers, then cleared. "This is Command Vessel Endless Light," came a strained voice, the translator struggling with the damaged alien communication systems. "We seek temporary refuge in your system. We are pursued by the Void Dominion." "The what?" President Kim asked, looking around the room. No one answered. No one knew. More damaged collective ships appeared on the sensors, some barely functional. Whatever had happened to them had been devastating. "Put me through to the Endless Light," ordered President Kim. After a brief delay, the large screen showed the inside of the collective vessel. Smoke filled the background. Injured aliens moved frantically in the haze. Ambassador Tarek himself stood before the camera, his blue skin now pale and ash-covered. "Earth leaders," he said, his usual condescension replaced by urgency, "we request emergency shelter in your system. We will share full details once we reach safety." "Who is pursuing you?" President Kim asked directly. "The Void Dominion, a species from beyond the galactic rim. They appeared without warning 3 of your Earth months ago." Tarek's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress. Dr. Park had learned. They attack without communication or mercy. President Kim looked to Admiral Song, who nodded slightly. "You may enter our system," she told Tarek. "We'll provide what assistance we can." After the transmission ended, Admiral Song replayed footage captured by Earth's deep space monitors. The battle had been brutal. Collective ships, despite their advanced technology, were being systematically destroyed by black angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Their weapons are unlike anything I've ever seen," muttered Dr. Park, studying the data. "They're not energy beams or projectiles in the normal sense." Director Ryu, head of Earth Security, pointed to a strange reading. "The collective shields fail instantly when hit. It's like their defenses don't even exist." Dr. Park suddenly straightened, her eyes wide. "Wait," she said, fingers flying across her tablet. "Look at the energy signature of the Dominion weapons." She projected her analysis onto the main screen. Their weapons operate on the exact frequency our Terran fusion hulls naturally disrupt. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. "You're saying," Admiral Song began. "I'm saying our ships might be immune to their main weapons," Park finished. "The unique properties of Terran fusion material, the very thing the Collective overlooked, might protect us where the Collective's technology fails." President Kim's face remained calm, but her eyes revealed the weight of her thoughts. She tapped her fingers slowly on the table. "If we reveal our fleet now, we expose everything we've been building in secret. The Collective will know we've been hiding our true progress." She looked around the room. "If we don't, the Collective might fall," finished Security Director Ryu. "And then this Void Dominion comes for us next, with no one to stand between us." The debate lasted for hours. Military leaders argued for caution. Keep the fleet hidden. Let the Collective fight their own battles. Scientists pushed for intervention, seeing an opportunity to test their theories about Terran fusion's protective properties. Political advisors worried about the consequences of either choice. "The Phoenix is ready," Dr. Park reminded them. 5 other ships are nearly complete. We could launch a small fleet now, against an enemy that crushed the Collective. General Choi shook his head. "That would be suicide." "Not if our hulls really do resist their weapons," Park insisted. As they argued, a technician interrupted with new information. "Madam President, sensors detect Void Dominion ships approaching Mars. They've followed the Collective into our system." The room fell silent. On the screen, 8 black ships moved toward the inner planets, their strange shapes like knives cutting through space. "They'll reach Earth in less than 12 hours, Admiral Song said quietly. "What are your orders, Madam President?" President Kim stood up straight, her decision made. "Launch the Phoenix. Alert the lunar base to prepare the other ships, ready or not." "And the Collective?" asked Director Lee. "Do we tell them what we've built?" "No," Kim said firmly. "Not yet. Let's see if Dr. Park's theory is correct first. If our ships can withstand the Dominion weapons, then we'll reveal ourselves fully." Admiral Song nodded and began issuing orders. Launch sequences initiated. Crews that had trained for years in secret were finally called to their real mission. Dr. Park felt her heart racing as she watched the activity around her. For 5 years, she had worked to understand and improve the alien technology. Now, humanity's survival might depend on whether she was right. "Should you be on the Phoenix?" Director Lee asked her quietly. Park shook her head. "No. I'm more useful here, analyzing data in real time." She paused. "Besides, if I'm wrong about the Terran fusion hulls..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. On the far side of the moon, in the secret construction dock, the Phoenix powered up its engines for the first time. Captain Min, chosen to command Earth's first true starship, gave the order to launch. "All systems ready," reported his first officer. "Terran fusion hull integrity at 100%. "Take us out," Min ordered. "Steady and slow until we clear the dock." The Phoenix rose from the lunar surface, its sleek hull catching the distant sunlight. 5 more ships, some only partially complete, prepared to follow. In the command center on Earth, President Kim watched the Phoenix's first flight with a mixture of pride and fear. "Let's hope we're ready for this," she whispered. No one answered. No one needed to. Captain Sunju gripped the armrests of her command chair as the EDF Phoenix accelerated away from Earth. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her face showed only calm determination. After years of training in simulators, she was finally commanding a real starship in real space. "Status report," she ordered, her voice steady despite the historic moment. First Officer Day checked his console. "All systems functioning at optimal levels, Captain. The Terran fusion hull is performing exactly as Dr. Park predicted." The bridge of the Phoenix was unlike anything from old science fiction movies. No flashing lights or unnecessary screens. Just clean, efficient workstations arranged in a circle around the central command area. The crew, 20 of Earth's finest pilots, engineers, and tactical officers worked with quiet focus. Navigation Officer Kang, "What's our position?" Chu asked. Kang, a former fighter pilot with steady hands and sharp eyes, looked up from her station. "We've cleared the moon's orbit, Captain. Approaching Mars in 30 minutes. The other ships are maintaining formation behind us." On the main view screen, the red planet grew larger. Behind the Phoenix flew 5 more completed ships and 31 partially built vessels, some little more than armed hulls with engines. Not the fleet of hundreds they had planned to build eventually, but all Earth could muster on short notice. "Engineering reports the weapons systems are online and calibrated," announced Chief Engineer Pak. "The hybrid cannons are ready for their first real test." These weapons were perhaps humanity's greatest innovation, combining the collective's advanced energy principles with old-fashioned human ballistic thinking. Where aliens had abandoned physical projectiles millennia ago, humans had found ways to merge both approaches. "Collective vessels in visual range," reported Kang suddenly, pointing to new contacts on her screen. 10 damaged alien ships limped toward them, still bearing scorch marks and broken sections from their battle with the Void Dominion. They'd moved to intercept the approaching Earth fleet. "They're scanning us," warned Security Officer Yoon. "They've detected our hull composition. We're receiving a transmission from the collective flagship," Communications Officer Moon announced, pressing her hand to her earpiece. Her eyes widened. They're demanding to know what we've done to their gifted technology." Captain Ju allowed herself a small smile. After years of condescension from the collective, this moment felt particularly satisfying. "Open a channel," she ordered. When Moon nodded, Ju spoke clearly. "Collective vessels, this is Captain Sun Ju of the Earth Defense Force ship Phoenix. We've come to assist you against the Void Dominion threat." Ambassador Tarek's face appeared on screen, his blue skin now ashen with stress. All 4 of his eyes blinked rapidly. "These ships," he said, voice wavering. "These materials. This is not possible. What have you done with our gifts?" "Tell them we've improved it," Ju replied calmly. Before Moon could relay the message, sensors blared warnings. 8 black ships had appeared near Jupiter's orbit. Angular vessels that seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. "Void Dominion fleet detected," called out Tactical Officer Jin. "They're moving fast, much faster than we expected." Ju straightened in her chair. All ships, battle positions, formed defensive pattern alpha around the collective vessels. The Earth ships moved with surprising grace for their size, taking positions to shield the damaged alien craft. On the view screen, the Void Dominion vessels approached, sleek, predatory shapes that reminded Ju of ancient sharks. "They're not responding to any communication attempts," reported Moon. "They're powering weapons," warned Jin. Ju took a deep breath. "All crews, brace for impact. We're about to test Dr. Park's theory." The Void Dominion attacked without warning. Strange, purple-black energy beams lanced out from their ships, cutting through space. When they struck the remaining collective vessels, the alien shields failed instantly. 2 collective ships exploded in silent bursts of light. Then a beam hit the Phoenix. Everyone on the bridge tensed, expecting destruction. Instead, something remarkable happened. As the energy weapon contacted the Terran fusion hull, it spread out like water hitting a hot pan. The deadly beam dispersed across the surface, changing from purple-black to harmless blue light that rippled away. "Hull integrity at 100%, shouted Engineer Pak in disbelief. "The Terran fusion material is working exactly as predicted." Similar reports came in from the other Earth ships. The Void Dominion weapons, so devastating against collective technology, had almost no effect on the human vessels. Captain Ju allowed herself one moment of pride before focusing on the battle ahead. "All ships, engage as planned," she ordered. "Show them what Earth can do." The Phoenix accelerated forward, leading the Earth fleet into battle. The ship moved with surprising agility for its size. Another human innovation. While collective ships were designed for efficiency and power, humans had prioritized maneuverability, drawing on centuries of aerial combat experience. "Target the lead Dominion vessel," Ju commanded. "Fire hybrid cannons when ready." The Phoenix's main weapons powered up. Unlike pure energy weapons used by both the Collective and Dominion, Earth's hybrid cannons launched physical projectiles surrounded by energy fields, combining the impact force of matter with the penetrating power of energy. When they fired, brilliant streaks cut across space. The lead Dominion ship tried to evade, but the attack was too precisely aimed. The hybrid rounds punched through its dark hull, causing cascading explosions across its surface. "Direct hit," Jin called out. "Their shields couldn't stop our physical components." The battle near Jupiter's orbit became intense. Human ships, nimble despite their size, executed maneuvers the rigid Collective designs had never been capable of. They spun, dived, and rolled, confusing Dominion, targeting systems designed to track more predictable movements. Earth weapons, those innovative hybrid designs, penetrated void Dominion defenses where pure energy weapons had failed. The physical components bypassed energy shields designed to stop only energy attacks. After 90 minutes of fierce fighting, the tide turned. 3 Dominion ships had been destroyed. 2 more were heavily damaged. The remaining 3 suddenly broke away, accelerating to faster-than-light speeds and disappearing from sensors. "They're retreating," Kang reported, disbelief in her voice. The bridge crew stared at each other, hardly daring to believe what had just happened. Earth's hastily assembled fleet had done what the mighty Collective could not, driven back the Void Dominion. As damage reports came in, Captain Ju was relieved to find no Earth ships had been destroyed. Several had taken damage from conventional weapons, but the Dominion's main energy weapons had proven nearly useless against Terran fusion hulls. "Captain," called Communications Officer Moon. "We're receiving a transmission from Ambassador Tarek. Private channel." Ju nodded. "I'll take it in the ready room." In the small office adjacent to the bridge, Ju accepted the call. Ambassador Tarek's face appeared on screen. For once, the translator conveyed emotion in his voice. Complete disbelief. "How?" was all he asked. Ju looked at the alien who had once mocked her species with gifts of garbage. She thought of all the condescension, all the patronizing words. "Perhaps," she replied calmly, "there was more value in your scrap than you realized." The large room gleamed with strange lights. 1,000 alien beings from across the galaxy sat in rising circles, their bodies of all shapes and sizes. Some had multiple arms. Others floated in bubbles of special gas. A few looked almost like humans with small differences. All watched the small human woman who stood in the center speaking. No human had ever stood in the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Collective before. For thousands of years, this room had been for advanced species only. Yet here stood Dr. C.O. Park, her simple black suit looking plain compared to the colorful clothes of the aliens around her. "The Terran fusion process represents more than a technological breakthrough," she explained, her voice calm despite her racing heart. "It represents the value of different ways of thinking. You built your civilization on energy manipulation. We built ours on physical materials and resource use. Together, we've created something neither could achieve alone." Behind her, a large display showed the battle near Jupiter. Earth ships with their special hulls resisted weapons that cut through Collective ships like paper. The room stayed completely silent as the aliens watched. When Park finished speaking, Supreme Counselor Vezrik, the oldest and wisest leader of the Collective, rose from his floating chair. His 6 eyes blinked slowly. "For 10,000 years, the Collective has believed our path of development was the only worthy one," he said, his translator making his musical language understandable to all. "We judged other species by how closely they followed our example. Earth has shown us the error of our thinking." He made a gesture with 3 of his 4 hands, the highest sign of respect in Collective culture. "Today, we formally welcome Earth as a full member of the Galactic Collective, with all rights and privileges. May your unique perspective help us all grow stronger." The chamber erupted in sounds, clicking, humming, whistling. The applause of 1,000 different species. 3 months later, the old scrapyard on the moon had completely changed. What was once a dumping ground for alien trash now buzzed with activity. Beings from 20 different worlds worked side by side with humans, studying the properties of materials in new ways. Dr. Park walked through what they now called the Innovation Center, stopping to watch a team of 6-armed Mrakti engineers working with human metallurgists on a new hull design. The combination works better than either approach alone, explained Chief Engineer Pak, who led the facility. Their energy manipulation techniques combined with our material science creates alloys 10 times stronger than either of us could make separately. Similar cooperation happened across the solar system. On Mars, terraforming experts from water worlds helped humans make the planet habitable faster than expected. In orbit around Saturn, shipyards built vessels that combine technologies from a dozen worlds. Admiral Jun Song, now Earth's representative on the Collective Defense Council, worked closely with former adversaries to prepare for the Void Dominion's inevitable return. The new combined fleet featured ships with Terran fusion hulls and hybrid weapons systems at its core. The Dominion will attack again, Song told the Defense Council during a strategy meeting. Our scouts report they're rebuilding their forces beyond the galactic rim. But this time, we'll be ready, responded Admiral Zrith of the Collective. Your hybrid weapons concepts have revolutionized our defense capabilities. One bright morning in spring, as the first sunlight touched the gleaming new Collective Embassy in Seoul, Ambassador Tarek requested a private meeting with President Kim. The embassy building itself symbolized the new relationship. Designed by both human and alien architects, it blended curves and angles in ways neither would have created alone. President Kim welcomed the ambassador in her office. Tarek looked different now, his posture less rigid, his manner less formal. I have been authorized to convey the Collective's formal apology, he said, his translator now capable of conveying genuine regret in his voice. We approached Earth with arrogance. We saw only what you lacked, not what you could offer. Kim remembered their first meeting years ago, how the aliens had looked down on humans as barely worth noticing, how things had changed. We accept your apology, she replied with grace. The past is behind us. The future awaits us all. There is more, Tarek continued. The Council has renamed our main scientific research center after Dr. Park. Her approach to the alien materials has been adopted across 100 worlds. And, he hesitated, seeming almost embarrassed, I personally wish to thank you for saving my people despite our initial attitude. Later that day, President Kim stood with Dr. Park at the launch observation deck outside Seoul. They watched as the newest generation of ships rose into the sky, sleek vessels that combined the best of human and alien design. Their crews were mixed too, humans working side by side with beings from across the galaxy. Beautiful, aren't they? Park said, watching a particularly large ship with blue markings climb toward the clouds. Yes, agreed Kim. Hard to believe that just 6 years ago, we had never even met an alien. Below them, in the viewing area, human families stood with visiting aliens, all watching the ships depart. Children pointed excitedly, some sitting on their parents' shoulders for a better view. A few young humans practiced alien languages with their new friends. They mocked us with scrap, Dr. Park said quietly. But I think all of us were too limited in our thinking. President Kim nodded. The Void Dominion is still out there, but they'll face something they never expected. What's that? Asked Park. A galaxy that's finally learned to work together. A small alien child, visiting Earth with her parents, approached Dr. Park tentatively. In broken English, she asked, You the one who made the special metal? Park knelt down to the child's level. I helped discover it. But many people worked together to make it useful. The child held out a small object, a piece of metal that shifted colors as it caught the light. My father makes these from your process. He says to thank you. Park accepted the gift with a smile. The metal had been shaped into a simple design. Hands of different shapes, all connected in a circle. As the ships disappeared into the bright blue sky, Park held the small gift and thought about the journey. From a junkyard of alien trash to a new era of cooperation. From mockery to respect. From isolation to connection. On one of the departing ships, Captain Sunju sat in the command chair of the newest vessel in the fleet, the Hope. Unlike her first command, the Phoenix, this ship had been built by human and alien hands working together. Course set for the outer colonies, Captain, reported her first officer, a tall being from a world called Mraz. Proceed at standard speed, Ju ordered. She looked around the bridge at her mixed crew, humans working alongside 3 different alien species. Each brought different skills and perspectives. Captain, called out Communications Officer Moon, we're receiving a message from Defense Command. Admiral Song sends his regards. She smiled, says to remind you that you started with scrap and ended up with stars. Ju looked out at those stars through the main viewport. The galaxy that had once seemed so far away now opened before them, full of dangers but also full of promise. Let's show them what we can do together, she said to her crew. The Hope accelerated into the darkness, carrying with it the light of cooperation that had started with a pile of alien trash and human determination. The end